The rain lashed against the window pane, each drop a tiny fist pounding on the glass. Outside, the wind howled like a mournful beast, its voice weaving through the skeletal branches of the old oak tree. Inside, wrapped in the deceptive safety of her blankets, Emily sat bolt upright on her bed. She held her breath, listening. It wasn't the storm that had woken her. It was something else. A soft, sibilant whisper that seemed to curl through the very air in her room. "Emily, come up." The voice was faint, like a memory, yet it sent a shiver racing down her spine. Her heart began to beat a frantic rhythm against her ribs, a trapped bird desperate for escape. Who or what was calling her name from the darkness above? She tried to dismiss it, to tell herself it was just the wind playing tricks on her mind. But the voice came again, a little more insistent, a little more real. "Emily, come up." It was coming from the attic she was forbidden to enter. Curiosity, that powerful, dangerous emotion, began to battle with her fear. She had to know. Slowly, carefully, she slipped out of her warm bed. The old wooden floorboards were cold against her bare feet. She tiptoed across the room, her every movement deliberate. Each step was a gamble, coaxing a low groan from the aging wood, a sound that seemed deafening in the charged silence. She grabbed the heavy metal flashlight from her nightstand, its cool weight a small comfort in her trembling hands. The beam of light cut a nervous path through the shadows, dancing over familiar shapes that now seemed alien and menacing. The whisper returned, clearer this time, pulling her forward. "Emily, hurry." It wasn't a command, but a plea. It sounded lonely. The strange urgency in the voice propelled her out of her bedroom and down the dimly lit hallway. At the end of the hall stood the small, unassuming door to the attic stairs, and her heart leaped into her throat. The door was ajar, just a crack, a sliver of darkness inviting her in. She was certain, absolutely positive, that her parents had locked it. She remembered the distinct click of the bolt just yesterday. Her hand, slick with sweat, trembled as she reached for the doorknob. With a hesitant push, the door swung inward with a long, complaining creak, revealing a steep, narrow staircase that disappeared into absolute blackness. She took a deep breath, the air tasting of dust and time, and began to climb. Her flashlight beam pierced the oppressive darkness, revealing walls covered in cobwebs that glistened like macabre jewels. When she reached the top, the vast, cavernous space of the attic unfolded before her. It was a graveyard of forgotten things. Stacks of old boxes stood like tombstones, their cardboard softened by years of humidity. Ghostly white sheets were draped over furniture, creating monstrous, lumpy silhouettes. The air was thick and musty, the scent of old paper, cedar, and decay. But her attention wasn't on the clutter. In the farthest corner of the attic, a faint, ethereal light pulsed gently. It glowed with a soft, silvery luminescence, beckoning her closer. With her heart pounding a steady drum against her ribs, Emily navigated the maze of forgotten memories. She stepped over a rocking horse with one eye missing and past a trunk that looked like a pirate's chest. She followed the light, her flashlight beam now seeming redundant. As she drew nearer, she began to hear something else beneath the sound of the storm. A delicate, tinkling melody. It was a music box, There, sitting atop a dusty old crate, was a tiny, ornate music box, intricately carved from a dark wood. It was glowing from within, and the lid was moving on its own, rising and falling in time with the soft, eerie tune it played. It was a melody that was both beautiful and heartbreakingly sad. Suddenly, the whisper was right beside her ear, a breath of cold air against her skin. "Thank you for finding me," Emily gasped and spun around, her flashlight beam wildly slicing through the air. There was nothing there, just shadows and dust. Her eyes darted back to the music box. As she watched, its lid slowly creaked all the way open. The music swelled for a moment, then stopped. The silvery glow faded, and nestled inside on a bed of faded red velvet was not a dancing ballerina, but a tiny yellowed scroll of paper, tied with a faded ribbon. Trembling, Emily reached in and picked it up. She carefully unrolled the delicate paper. The handwriting was elegant, a lupine cursive from a bygone era. It read, "I've been waiting for someone brave enough to find me." At that exact moment, a large shadow fell over her, eclipsing the dim light. A tall, human-shaped silhouette loomed on the wall behind her. Pure terror seized her. She whipped around, brandishing her flashlight like a weapon, ready to scream. But there was nothing. Absolutely nothing. And then she noticed it. The silence. The wind had stopped howling. The rain was no longer drumming against the roof. The attic was utterly, profoundly silent. The oppressive atmosphere had lifted, replaced by a strange sense of peace. Clutching the music box tightly to her chest, Emily scrambled down the stairs, not out of fear, but out of a need to be back in the familiar comfort of her room. She placed the small wooden box on her bedside table and sat down, her breath coming in ragged gasps. But she wasn't scared anymore. A feeling of pride, of accomplishment, washed over her. She had faced her fear. She had solved the attic's secret. That night, as she drifted off to sleep, the soft, tinkling melody of the music box began to play again. But this time it didn't sound eerie or sad. It sounded friendly, a gentle lullaby that filled her room with a quiet sense of companionship. Some secrets aren't meant to be feared, just understood. What secrets do you think are hiding in your own home? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more mysterious stories like this one. Thanks for watching.